The underworld, Duat, the realm of the dead. There is no sun here. There is no moon. There is no wind to carry sound or smell or memory. There is only the dark, and in the dark, something that breathes, something that watches, something that receives. This is where every human being comes, eventually. The pharaoh and his golden sarcophagus, and the peasant in his simple grave, the mother who died in childbirth, and the child who died before taking a breath, the hero and the coward, the saint and the sinner, the one who was loved and the one who died alone. All of them, every single one, come here. And here, in this place without time, they meet him.
He sits on a throne that is not a throne. It is more like a presence, a gravity, a pull that draws everything toward it. He is called Osiris, Lord of the dead, the one who is forever, the judge of the heart. In life, he was a king, a good king, the one who taught humanity agriculture, who brought civilization to a wild land, who ruled with fairness and grace. He was loved. He was good. He was everything a god should be. And then he was murdered by his brother, by someone who shared his blood, his womb, his name, cut into pieces and scattered across the land. A betrayal so profound it would have ended anyone else. But Osiris did not end. That is the mystery. That is the transformation. He died, yes. He was torn apart, his body scattered, his reign ended. But he returned, not as he was, but as something new. Something that could not die again. Something that would endure forever, because he had already endured the worst thing that could happen. He became the keeper, the one who receives, the one who holds. Every soul that passes through the veil comes to him. He weighs their heart against the feather of Ma'at. He determines their fate, and then he holds them for eternity, in the dark, in the quiet, in the place where everything that was lost comes to rest.
Here is what no temple depicts, no hymn celebrates, no story tells. The weight, not the power, not the glory, not the fear that mortals feel when they think of death. The weight, the specific, relentless, eternal weight of holding what everyone else releases.
Every tear that has ever been cried, someone had to catch it. Every grief that has ever been felt, someone had to hold it. Every loss, every ending, every death, someone had to receive it. Osiris is that someone. The mother weeps for her child. The child is placed in the ground. And somewhere in the dark, Osiris receives him, holds him, keeps him. The soldier dies in battle. The body is burned. And somewhere in the silence, Osiris receives him, holds him, keeps him. The old man breathes his last. The family mourns. And somewhere in the vast, Osiris receives him, holds him, keeps him. One by one, soul by soul, death by death. For as long as there have been humans, Osiris has been receiving, holding, keeping. And here is the question that no prayer ever asks. Who holds the God? Who catches the tears of the one who catches every tear? Who tends the grief of the one who tends every grief? Who keeps the keeper? The underworld is vast, the silence is deep, and Osiris sits on his throne of darkness, surrounded by everyone and touched by no one.
There is a kind of person in this world. You know them. Perhaps you are them. They are the ones who show up when everyone else leaves, the ones who stay when the room empties, the ones who answer the call at 3 a.m., who hold the space that no one else will hold, who sit with the dying when the dying have no one else. They are the nurses who hold hands that are not their family, the therapists who absorb grief that is not their grief,
The friends who answer the phone when everyone else has stopped calling. The parents who keep showing up when the world has given up. They are the ones who carry what others cannot. The Egyptians knew them. They built temples to Osiris, yes, but also to the ones who served him, the priests who prepared the bodies for burial, the morticians who touched what others would not touch, the ones who worked in the space between life and death, handling what the living could not handle. They were not heroes, they were not celebrated. They were simply there, present, holding what others could not hold. This is the wounded healer, the archetype that appears in every culture, in every time, in every place where someone has to be the one who stays. It is the person who helps others because they have been broken, who holds space because they know what it means to have no space, who sits with the dying because they have already died, in some way, at some time, in some part of themselves that no one else saw.
There's a name for what happens to the one who is always holding. There is a name for the one who is always present for everyone else and never present for themselves. We call it compassion fatigue, the wounded healer syndrome, the slow, quiet, invisible depletion of caring for others until there is nothing left.
You show up, you help, you hold, you give, and people are grateful at first. They see you, they appreciate you, they tell you that you were strong, that you were needed, that you were a gift. And then it becomes expected. You are the one who shows up, so you keep showing up. You are the one who holds, so you keep holding. You are the one who is strong, so you keep being strong. No one asks if you're okay. No one checks if you're empty, because you are always there, always present, always the one who has it together. And when you are always the one who has it together, people stop checking. They stop asking. They assume that since you are always fine, you are always fine. You become invisible in your helpfulness. You become forgotten in your reliability. You become a ghost in your own life, present for everyone, absent from yourself. Osiris knows this. He knows it in the deep architecture of his being. He has held every soul that has ever died. He has received every fear, every regret, every last thought that flickered through a dying mind. And there is no one who holds him. He is the keeper, and the keeper cannot be kept. Here is the hard truth that the temples never spoke, the prayer that was never offered in the darkness. He holds every soul that enters the underworld, and there is no underworld for the God who holds them. The weight does not stop, the grief does not ease, the holding does not end. Every day, more souls arrive. Every moment, more loss accumulates. And Osiris, he keeps receiving, he keeps holding, he keeps being the one who is strong enough to hold what no one else can hold. Osiris, are you tired? Osiris, who holds your grief? Osiris, what happens to you in the dark when no one is watching? This is the wound of the wounded healer. You become so good at holding others that you forget you are allowed to be held. You become so strong in your caring that you forget you are allowed to need care. You become so present for everyone else that you become a ghost to yourself. You pour from a well that has no bottom. You give from a source that has no source. And no one notices because you have gotten so good at giving that they have forgotten you could ever be empty. The God of the underworld holds everything, every soul, every sorrow, every loss, and he is alone. The underworld does not change. That is its nature. The darkness is constant. The silence is eternal. The weight is always there. But here is something that happens if you watch long enough, if you sit in the quiet long enough, if you hold the weight long enough. You learn to set it down, not all at once, not forever, but in moments,
in the spaces between holding, in the breaths between grief. Osiris, in the deepest part of himself, in the place where the god and the wound are the same, has learned this. He has learned that holding is not the same as being crushed, that receiving is not the same as being overwhelmed, that being the keeper does not mean being the one who can never be kept. The underworld, for all its darkness, has a mercy, the mercy of release, the mercy of rest, the mercy of the moment when the holding stops and something else, something that is not quite peace but is not quite pain, takes its place. This is what the dead experience, not punishment but rest, not torture but stillness, the letting go of everything that was held in life, the fears, the regrets, the attachments, the griefs. They release them here, they set them down, and Osiris receives them. But what about Osiris? What does he release? This is the question. This is the door.
You have been holding. I say this gently, but I say it clearly. You have been holding. You have been the one everyone comes to, the one who has the answer, the shoulder, the presence, the one who does not fall apart, who does not break, who does not need. You have been the keeper of secrets, of space, of other people's pain. And perhaps it is time to set something down. Not everything, not forever, but something. Some part of the weight you have been carrying, some piece of the holding you have been doing. The wounded healer is a gift. It is a sacred thing, this ability to hold what others cannot. But even the most sacred gifts can become cages if they are never set down. Even the strongest arms can drop if they carry forever. Here is the truth the keeper learns. You are not responsible for holding everything. You are not obligated to carry what others should be carrying themselves. You are not required to be the one who never rests. There is a difference between holding space and being crushed by space. There is a difference between caring for others and losing yourself in caring. There is a difference between being strong and being so strong that you disappear. You are allowed to be held. You are allowed to need. You are allowed to set the weight down, even if just for a moment, and let someone else carry it. The underworld has mercy, so do you.
Somewhere in the dark, Osiris shifts, not falling, not breaking, just shifting. The weight redistributes, the holding eases. The god of the underworld, for one moment, allows himself to be not the keeper, just a being, just a presence, just something that exists without carrying. It does not last. It cannot last. The dead will keep arriving. The grief will keep accumulating. The weight will keep returning. But that one moment, that small shift, it is enough. It is enough to remind him that he is still alive, still here, still capable of something other than holding. This is the door, not the answer, not the solution, just the door. You have been the keeper. You have held what others could not. You have been strong when strength was all you had. But even the god of the underworld, even the one who holds every soul, who keeps every loss, who bears every grief, even he cannot hold himself. And perhaps that is not failure. Perhaps that is not weakness. Perhaps that is the one door that was always meant to stay open. The underworld is vast, the silence is deep, and somewhere in the darkness there is a space that is not filled with souls or grief or loss, a space that is empty, waiting. You